Hello there, Pilgrim, and welcome to the Gump Report. And I'm John Wayne. I am the one who always like to do some type of Western video and always have to say when we're trying to bring out cattle, yo! Welcome to the Gump Report, guys. I guess the reason I had to laugh about this and have some fun is because of what this Gump Report is about. And it seems to be the most stupidest Gump Report that I'm going to be saying. Not because I'm going to act stupid in it. It's because of what the person could be doing. And if this person actually does it and it works, they deserve to be pooned for it when it goes wrong. And this is an update to Thea Trinidad, the Zelina Vega herself. And if you look at the article that'll be connected to this from NoDQ.com, because I'm just going to leave the article, I'm not going to say anything else. You look at the article and you listen to my words now. If this is true, that Thea Trinidad was spotted at the Performance Center, and they're already talking about her coming back, they're already beginning to film vignettes for her return, she does not deserve any, and I repeat this again, any sympathy when the WWE treats her and Aleister Black like shit. I'm being truthful here. And understand, I love Thea Trinidad. I love Zelina Vega. I do. Rosita of Impact Wrestling, as she was known. Honestly, after what happened with the third party being banned from WWE and she took a stance, the girl said, no, I do not want to stop doing stuff on Twitch. And she was made an example of. Vince made an example of her. He fired her ass on the spot. She was done. So she went on Twitch, crying her eyes out, not blaming the company, being very nice, very friendly, saying simply, it hurt my heart this happened. It broke my heart. I have no anger towards them, but it hurts that this happened. She took a freaking stance against the stupid, and I repeat, stupid policies of Vince and the shareholders. During the pandemic, these people depended not on their guaranteeing contract, because you guys don't understand, when you're in WWE, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, when you're in the WWE and you have a ironclad contract, you don't get all that money up front. If you got a $5 million contract, you actually think they're going to pay you $5 million up front? That's over the years that you serve in the company. If you get a 5-year contract for 5 years, you get near an equivalent of $1 million. Or if you got a $2.5 million contract, it could be $400,000, $500,000 a year. It will equivalent up to $2.5 million. If you get a $1 million contract over a 5-year period, what does that mean? You get $250,000 every year for that whole 5 years. That will easily lead up to $1 million. You don't get it all up front. You don't. And the way they supplement, because remember, a lot of these people don't get super big contracts. Some they get $400,000 a year. Some get $500,000 a year. Some get $100,000 a year. It depends on what you're negotiated by for Vince and his lawyers. And because you don't know, they usually did a supplemental thing where before the madness of the pandemic happened, you can go to third parties. You did Cameo, which helped offset what little you got from your ironclad contract. You would do live events. Your merchandise would be moved. You would do special events. That's how you made up for what little you would get from your contract working with the WWE. But when the pandemic hit, all of that got cut. Everything got cut. Third party got cut. Now, mind you, a lot of the wrestlers made a big mistake that they used their online personas, their wrestling personas, to bring people to watch them on Twitch. That was wrong. And made them change their names immediately so they wouldn't have any problem. That would have solved it. But Vince thought, oh, these people are making maybe 10, maybe 20 grand in a month, or maybe $5,000 or maybe $1,000 a month and we're not getting a part of that? No. We're going to take over your channels or you're going to stop them. Cameo. They're making money in Cameo. We're not making any money from Cameo. You're going to stop Cameo, or I know they didn't do that, or you're going to give us half. That it could have been like that. No. Vince said stop doing it because it's all going to be WWE. You do it through us. And if you're not doing it through us, like Twitch, we're taking it over, even if you're using your actual names. Even before that or after. Look at Xavier Woods, Austin Creed, up, down, down. He's been doing this for years. So he must have a protection. Asuka Chan, another Kata Chan, she had her channel set up well before this happened. And she didn't do anything rest related and she didn't use her name. So she has an exemption. But anyone else had to stop, including Thea Trinidad. And that was the thing that caused her to lose her job. She said, I'm not going to stop doing third party like Twitch. I'm not using my name. Me and my husband, when we did YouTube A and the Z, we didn't use our names. We didn't. We used abbreviation. We didn't imply that we were doing it. So their channel is still the same way, unchanged. So she said, no, it's wrong, and she got fired for it. And understand, guys, Vince supposedly loved this girl like his own daughter. Let me say that again. Next to Stephanie McMahon, because of how Thea lived and how much she loved wrestling, Vince saw her like a little daughter. They said he legitimately cared for her like he gave life to this girl. But the minute money was involved, poof, fired as an example. So, if the rumor is true from Dave Meltzer that she now has returned to the Performance Center, which is fine. You can go to the Performance Center. Look, her husband's still working in WWE. And they don't bar anybody, former wrestlers or current wrestlers, to go to the Performance Center. They really encourage them to keep themselves in shape and to continue interacting and trying to improve themselves, at least for what I understand. So there's no problem with that. But if they're actually filming vignettes for her return, and she agrees to return, she deserves whatever she gets. If she ends up in the back in catering in 3 or 4 months, she deserves it. If they treat her like dirt when she comes back and makes her eat shit and like the taste of it, she deserves it. Everything that goes wrong from the time she comes back, does her vignettes, gets maybe a little bit of a push, and then it drops and she disappears, she deserves it. Because she knows the old adage, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If she goes back knowing full well that she got pooned, got treated like dirt, fired because of her point of view, by willing to go back, it looks bad on her, no matter what anyone says. Now, mind you, I'm not saying this because I hate Thea. I don't. She's a great talent. She can wrestle to a certain extent, and she's an amazing manager. She has a presence, a charisma. That is very rare to see in wrestling these days. She can make just as much money in AEW. They probably want her in AEW. Look, Impact Wrestling, who doesn't have the same budget as AEW, would beg her to come back, either to be a manager or to be a wrestler. She has options. And after the way she was treated, and everyone knows that she was fired to prove a point that Vince is always going to be in charge and it's always about money. This wasn't about principles. Vince did not need to go there what he did with the third parties. The only thing he had to do was tell these people, you cannot use your personas. If you do, you get fined. That's all that needed to be done for Vince. And he would have the right to do it because he created those personas for those people. They have no right to do it outside of the company unless he allows it. And if he doesn't, you would be fined. That would be fine. You could be fired. That would be fine. And if they switch over to their regular names, there's nothing wrong with that. People would still recognize them for who they were and still do it. But because of this with Vince, he cut majority of their money by at least half with their guaranteed contracts. Because like I said earlier, you can have a $5 million contract for 5 years. Does not mean you will get $5 million all at once. You have to go through the guaranteed contract of maybe getting $1 million, which could be $100,000 every month or maybe less. Some people with that kind of contract, they'll be fine. But people who get maybe $100,000 a year and they got maybe a $400,000 contract for what? A year or two or 5? Some people never get that high. Some people get a 5-year contract for maybe $400,000 or $500,000. So they don't make a huge amount of money. These third parties is what helped them. Doing live events helped them. Their merchandise helped them. That's how it worked. And now it's gone. So these people, many people who are not even near $400,000 a year, $300,000 a year, or even $200,000 are suffering. And I know a lot of people say, well, do they deserve it? Well, no, they don't. Because things used to be better before. Now that Vince is thinking, I'm not touring anymore right now. I'm going to make whatever money I can. Which now he's made money hand over fist. But going back to Thea. Again, Thea Trinidad was fired on purpose as an example to someone who did not listen to Vince. Who fought against the establishment. Butted heads with Vince. Within a few moments afterward, she's gone. No words, no nothing. She's fired. And if she is able to return and they give her vignettes because Vince just said, well, you know what? I still like the girl. I'm going to bring her back. By her doing that, she's swallowing her pride. I'm being honest here, guys. She was trying to prove a point that what Vince was doing was wrong. He didn't need to go that far, barring people from going to other platforms. There could have been better arrangements than that. But by her going back so quickly, since she was gone since last year, to now, feels like she's swallowing her pride. Now, for me personally, I'm hoping this isn't true. Because if she does do this, and then we know for certain, you know as well as I do, guys, that once Vince is done with you, you do nothing. If she does go back, gets pushed for a little while, and then dumped by Vince, she deserves it. Because it is obvious. The way the company is run, easily, she's going to get screwed over. Because there's no way, even if she does go back, get new vignettes, either become a manager again, or maybe wrestles, does that mean she's going to stay where she is for long? No. Unless she's going to NXT and staying there. Because that could happen. If she goes back to the main roster, she will end up exactly where she was before. And I can see this clearly. Because for me personally, if she's going back for a husband, that's her choice. She wants to be with a husband on the roster. If she's going back because she loves the company, fine. That's what she's going to do. That's what she wants to do. And you can't poon her 100% for that. But you will be pooned. Thea Trinidad will be pooned. People are going to think that she not only swallowed her pride, she let someone stick a stick up her ass for going back, knowing full well they're going to treat her like shit again. Because that is what's going to happen. There's a very good chance that, yes, she goes back onto the main roster, SmackDown or Raw, maybe, if she doesn't go to NXT and Triple H gets her, because that will be something entirely different. But if she goes back to the main roster, she'll last maybe 4 or 5 months. Maybe even that. That's the best case scenario. 4 or 5 months, at least 5. And then she'll go here, and then she'll be gone. We will not see her. She'll either be on main event or superstars. There's a very good chance within a couple of weeks to a couple of months, she will disappear off the face of the planet. Sit in catering. And that's before she jobs to everyone. She's going to job to every woman on that roster. Look what happened to Lana. Because of Miro, Lana didn't get thrown through one table. She got thrown through 10 tables. 10. And where did it get her? She didn't get a title. She didn't get the tag titles, and she didn't get the world title for the women. She got nothing. She went through 10 stupid tables for nothing because of what Miro said about the company. So now, Thea Trinidad, who spoke up saying that this was wrong what Vince is doing. Someone that Vince actually considered like a little daughter because he knew what happened to her father, who died at the World Trade Center, who they both loved wrestling from his company. He, in a sense, took her on like a surrogate father because he knew she was a good kid in his eyes, because he's in his 70s, of course, and she's in her 20s, nearing 30 now. He took her on like Stephanie had a new little sister. But when money was involved, he put his foot down and said, fuck you. You don't want to listen to what I'm saying? You're fired. It don't make a difference. I consider you like a daughter. You're fucking fired. So this is what you get. And she comes back. She deserves what she gets. She knows what happened. This is what she gets. If she comes back and they don't continually push her, that means something. She ends up in the back and she complains on Twitter, because she may complain on Twitter. Everyone is going to poon her ass. Everyone is going to say, well, oh, now you're complaining. You went back and they let you come back knowing full well Vince is going to treat you like shit again. Fuck you, Thea. You deserve it. That is what people are going to say. Me personally, I'm not going to say that. Like I said earlier, if she's doing this because she really wants to be with her husband, because she loves her husband so much, she wants to work with him, there. If she's doing it because she really loves the company, there. You can say a lot about that. Someone as loyal as that, because of what happened with her father dying at the World Trade Center, they both adored the WWE. And she went into wrestling because she loved it so much. You can't take away her passion of wanting to be with that one particular company. But you cannot take away that she was treated like dirt because of having a stance on something. She wasn't just doing it because she wanted the money. She did it because she loved it. And now, if it's true that she's now doing vignettes at the Performance Center, that she may be able to go back onto the main roster again, or NXT, which will be another entirely different story, because we don't know what will happen if she goes on NXT. They got a huge, deep body of women there, including Taya Valkyrie, one of the most well-known women in professional wrestling today. That is going to be very, very cutthroat in there. I don't see her getting much, but at least she may get treated better than the main roster. But still, honestly, this is what I think will happen. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. Please give me a comment below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!